Every time you engage with money, you are communicating, even without speaking aloud. Each instance you hold it, transfer it, count it, spend it, or receive it, your energy sends out a command. The world has wrongly informed you that money is neutral, separate from spiritual matters, and merely a tool to be both utilized and feared. However, I assert that money is not inanimate, it is vibrant. It serves a fundamental law and responds with perfect obedience to the sentiments of your heart and the rhythm of your words. Many individuals interact with money out of apprehension. They handle it with hesitation, count it with unease, and spend it with dread. They declare, "I cannot afford that," and then question why money seems to disappear. They state, "Money does not come easily," and then wonder why their finances are depleted. They speak of scarcity while possessing abundance. They announce emptiness while touching tangible proof of infinite supply. Subsequently, they inquire why it does not grow. Yet, money does not react to effort. It responds to energy, to blessings, and to commands. You must now regard every interaction with money as sacred. Every bill you hold, every card you swipe, every coin you discover, every transaction you complete, these are not ordinary actions. They are opportunities for spiritual demonstration. The moment you touch money, you are at a spiritual altar. Your words in that moment either amplify or diminish your future. Do not allow another dollar to pass through your hands without blessing it, without commanding it, without speaking truth over it. I state this clearly: if you are not speaking increase over your money, you are silently allowing loss, because silence is not neutral. In the domain of law, silence signifies submission. When you remain silent, the world speaks on your behalf, introducing fear, confusion, and scarcity. But when you speak, when you declare, with rhythm and truth, money must comply. This is not due to magic, but due to universal law. Let your new practice commence today. Every time you touch money, regardless of the amount, you will utter a sentence, not just any sentence, but a sacred command, one that carries divine essence, creative energy, and spiritual finality. When you speak it, you must not speak as one who hopes. You must speak as one who knows. This is because the law does not respond to pleading. It responds to certainty. Let your fingers become conduits of blessing. Let your voice become the instrument of multiplication. Let your energy align with the truth of divine provision. You are not spending money, you are circulating it. You are not losing value, you are commanding return. You are not fearing scarcity, you are declaring abundance. Say this when you touch money. Say it with conviction. Say it with rhythm. Say it with authority. Then, observe what unfolds. When you communicate with money in alignment, money becomes your obedient servant. And a servant always obeys the master who understands their power. Money is not inherently impure, evil, or materialistic. That is a worldly belief, not a spiritual law. The grand misconception is that money belongs to humans, is created by governments, is earned through hard work, and lost through mistakes. However, I boldly declare to you, money is God's invisible supply made visible. It is divine essence manifested. It is the reflection of the true, and it is drawn to those who recognize its sacred nature. There is no conflict between money and spirit, only between ignorance and truth. The same divine source that grants you life also provides for your sustenance. The same origin that brought you into existence withholds nothing from your daily needs. When you separate money from the divine, you diminish its power. But when you unite it with the law of good, you enable it to flow, to grow, and to serve. The challenge is never the money itself. It is always the mindset that handles it. Do not treat money as ordinary. Do not treat it with fear, guilt, or disdain. Do not say, "It's just $1." Do not say, "I dislike money." Do not disparage the instrument of your well-being. What you scorn cannot remain. What you resist cannot return. What you resent, you push away. But what you bless, you multiply. What you honor, you attract. What you speak into with truth returns. With favor, money is spiritual. It is a medium of exchange. Yes, but it is also a mirror. It reflects your beliefs. It reflects your energy. It reflects your awareness. If you think of scarcity, it diminishes. If you feel guilt, it withholds. But if you perceive it as divine essence, if you speak to it as a manifestation of the infinite, it will move towards you in increasing waves. Never again say, "Money is difficult to acquire." Instead, declare, Divine source is my immediate, constant, and abundant provision. Significant amounts of money come to me swiftly, by grace, in perfect ways. This is not merely a statement, it is a law. And when spoken with rhythm, belief, and feeling, it takes form. The amount of money you possess now is irrelevant. What matters is how you speak to it. Money is like water. It flows where it is welcomed. It evaporates where it is cursed. It is drawn to peace. It is attracted by confidence. It is repelled by resentment. You must become a sacred conduit through which money moves freely. Not hoarded, not feared, not glorified, but blessed. Bless every dollar that enters your life. Bless every coin you discover. Bless every payment you send. And state aloud, this money is divine essence. It cannot be depleted. It flows to me and through me by grace and multiplies as it circulates. You will observe that what once eluded you now lingers. What once was delayed now arrives. What once was hidden now reveals itself. This is not because the money has changed, but because you have, as within, so without. As you speak, so it manifests. As you bless, so you receive. Let money become your sacred servant, and speak to it accordingly. Whatever you bless, multiplies. This is not a theory. It is spiritual law. It does not matter what the global economy suggests. It does not matter what your account balance indicates. The moment you truly, lovingly, and fearlessly bless something, you open the channels of divine increase. When it comes to money, this law operates with precise obedience. The law of multiplication is inherent in all of creation. Seeds multiply, loaves and fishes multiplied, talents invested multiplied. It is the divine intention to give in abundance. However, that abundance cannot enter a heart that curses its own supply. Most people hold their last dollar with fear. They say, I must hold on, or I will have nothing. But I say, bless that dollar, cherish that dollar, speak to it, multiply it with your words. For $1, blessed and declared as divine essence, contains the spiritual blueprint for millions. Consider the example of a woman who possessed only $2. The world would have deemed her impoverished, but she held those dollars in her hand and declared, this is divine money. It is spiritual essence. It cannot be depleted. I bless it and envision it multiplying by grace in perfect ways. Within a week, $6,000 came to her from an unforeseen source. Did her words create the specific amount? No. They released it. The money was always present, awaiting her energy to align with its level. You see, money is never distant. It is only out of sync with your frequency. Your word is your tuning fork. Your declaration is your alignment. Your blessing is your invitation. Stop asking where the money is. Start declaring, money is here. Money is ready. Money now multiplies by grace. And speak that not as a wish, but as a truth already in motion. The loaves and fishes were not multiplied through strenuous effort. They were not multiplied through counting. They were multiplied through gratitude and declaration. Jesus looked up, gave thanks, and then broke the bread. It was in the act of breaking that the increase manifested. You, too, must look at what you possess, not with fear, but with faith, not with hesitation, but with spiritual boldness. Take what you have and declare this: I bless this money. I bless its origin. I bless its direction. And I now envision it returning to me multiplied, pressed down, shaken together, and overflowing. Do not wait until you have more to speak. Speak now. Speak when the amount is small. Speak when it appears insufficient. For the one who speaks to little is the one who governs much. The one who fears smallness will never experience overflow. But the one who perceives the divine pattern in every dollar connects with the rhythm of multiplication. Money is not governed by logic, it is governed by law. And law listens to your voice. Law responds to your blessing. Law moves where you speak. So touch your money, even if it is a single dollar, and declare, this money multiplies because I have blessed it in truth, and it shall be so. Not by force, not by manipulation, but by the spoken word in alignment with divine law. Now, I give you the sentence, not a charm, not a spell, not a phrase to recite without power. This is a divine declaration, a command to law. An energy that aligns your voice with the invisible supply waiting to materialize. You are not saying it to beg. You are not saying it to test. You are saying it because you now understand that money obeys the spoken word. Say this aloud. Every time you touch money, divine essence cannot be depleted. I bless this money and envision it multiplying by grace in perfect ways. Say it when you receive a payment. Say it when you pay a bill. Say it when you buy groceries, when you tip, when you transfer, when you count, when you give. Say it with the conviction of certainty. Say it slowly. Say it like a sovereign addressing their court. Say it like a priest sanctifying an offering, because that is precisely what you are doing. You are sanctifying your resources. You are commanding multiplication. Blah, here's your rhythm. The universe responds to your word. You do not need to know the channel. You do not need to calculate the how. The sentence is not about logic. It is about energy. When you speak it, you shift your frequency. When you speak it, you rise above fear. When you speak it, you align with the divine storehouse that is perpetually full. Let your relationship with money be purified. You no longer interact with it in dread. You no longer feel shame when you spend. You no longer shrink when you give. You no longer flinch when you check your account. You speak the sentence, and the sentence determines the outcome. Money must multiply where it is blessed. That is law. Not because of you, but because of the divine source behind you. You are not the origin. You are the speaker, and the speaker who understands their power walks in abundance. So touch the dollar, touch the coins, touch the card, and declare, divine essence cannot be depleted. I bless this money and envision it multiplying by grace in perfect ways. And repeat it as many times as necessary until your being feels the truth, until your mind accepts the law, until the energy takes root, and you will witness the evidence, because law, once activated by words, cannot return unfulfilled. You must grasp this with profound clarity now. If money continues to elude you, it is not because money is disloyal. It is because your words have pushed it away. Every careless statement you make against your own supply becomes a barrier to abundance. Every time you say, I cannot afford that, money goes faster than it comes. I am always without funds, or this is too expensive. You are not describing a condition. You are creating one. Law does not wait to see if you are joking. It does not check your mood. It does not analyze your intention. It obeys your energy. The subconscious mind hears your every declaration and acts to match your belief. You may utter these things casually, passively, habitually, but the law receives them precisely, not indifferently, and so your money hears, there is never enough, and it disperses. It hears, I am not worthy, and it reroutes. It hears, I always lose, and it vanishes. You cannot curse your garden and anticipate a harvest. You cannot mock your field and expect fruit. Money is a divine instrument. It has an awareness. It is spiritual essence in physical form. When handled with sarcasm, panic, or complaint, it withdraws, not as punishment, but as a principle. What is dishonored cannot remain. What is feared cannot flow. What is shamed cannot serve. So I ask you now, what have you been speaking over your money? What have you murmured when paying a bill? What have you whispered when reviewing your account? What have you recounted to friends about your financial situation? Every phrase is a seed, and every seed yields after its kind. It is time to speak differently. It is time to bless what you once disregarded, to honor what you once mocked, to declare life where you once rehearsed scarcity. Say this when you touch your wallet, your banking application, your receipts. I do not curse my supply. I declare it sacred. Money flows to me freely now, and I speak only life over it. This is not denial. This is divine instruction. You are not ignoring reality. You are reshaping it. And the reality that subsequently forms will be the one that aligns with your most dominant words. Therefore, guard your mouth, guard your tongue. Let no false prophecy originate from your lips. You are no longer the victim of money. You are its governor. And what you govern in spirit will obey you in physical form. Every time you pay a bill, every time you part with money, you are affirming what you believe about provision. Most people believe they are losing something when they pay. They believe they are being depleted. But I tell you the truth, you are not spending money. You are circulating divine essence, and what you circulate with joy returns to you multiplied. Payment is not depletion. It is a spiritual transaction. It is proof that you trust the source of all good to replenish what you have released. Never again speak fear over payment. Never again sigh when the rent is due. Never again groan when the bill arrives. These reactions are like spells. They are anti-blessings, and the law, perceiving your tone, responds not with increase, but with an echo. reflecting the fear you just expressed. You must now handle your money as a priest handles a sacred chalice, with reverence, with awareness, with spiritual rhythm. When you pay for anything, whisper this aloud or in your heart if necessary. I pay this with joy, and it returns to me, multiplied, pressed down, shaken together, and overflowing. This is not poetry, this is spiritual mathematics. What you give with joy always returns with increase. What you release in fear delays its return. What you part with in gratitude creates immediate pathways for more. Payment is evidence of circulation, and circulation is the law of life. Stagnation is the illusion of loss. You were never intended to hoard, to cling, to panic. You were meant to bless, to trust, to command flow. Say this when the bill arrives. This is not a burden. It is proof I am entrusted with resources. I send it forth, and it shall return tenfold. Now your bills are no longer triggers. They are tests of trust. And when you speak truth into them, they transform from constraints into channels. Your rent becomes a portal. Your electricity, a gateway. Your tuition, a divine investment. Bless your payments. Bless your giving. Bless your outgoing funds with the same power you bless your incoming funds, because it is all one flow, all one law, and that which you handle with joy shall return with power. Every visible blessing begins with an invisible word. There is no exception. Your prosperity does not begin in the bank. It does not begin with the check, the job, or the client. It begins with the sentence. It begins with what you say before it appears. Most people wait to declare abundance until they see it. But that is not law, that is reaction. Law is cause, and the cause of prosperity is always the spoken word in faith. I have witnessed it repeatedly. A woman stood with nothing but belief, no money in sight, no offers, no open doors, but she spoke day and night. I see yellow bills, I see green bills, I see pink checks with divine abundance written in my name. She saw it, she felt it, she spoke it. Before a single dollar had appeared, she was speaking the truth that preceded it. And in time, because time is never a barrier for spirit, her mailbox began to confirm it. Yellow bills, green bills, pink checks. The exact pattern she had declared appeared in physical form, not because she forced it, but because she had called it forth. Do not wait until you have proof to speak. Speak, and the proof will follow. Do not say, I will believe it when I see it. That is the language of delay. Say instead, I will see it because I have spoken it. For your world is merely an echo of your most dominant declaration. Scripture states, God calls into existence the things that do not exist as though they did. Romans 4:17. You must purify yourself of every false belief that suggests you are unworthy of prosperity, that wanting money is selfish, that having more is wrong. These are not spiritual concepts. They are human interpretations of fear, disguised as morality and shame. But the truth is this: your wealth serves the divine when you receive it righteously. The law is not offended by your abundance. The Spirit is not envious of your resources. The infinite is not limited by your portion. There is no scarcity in the divine mind. When you receive, you do not take from others. You simply align more swiftly. You become an example of law in action, a testament that truth does not fail. I have stated before, and I state it again, nothing is too good to be true. Nothing is too wonderful to occur. Nothing is too good to be temporary. These words must replace the guilt within you. These truths must override the inherited shame of generations. If you feel guilt when receiving, declare this: it is right for me to prosper. I use money with love, and money flows to me in peace. And if the voice of shame whispers, who are you to have more? Answer with law: I am a child of the Most High. I inherit all good. I release guilt and walk in grace. You cannot speak multiplication while clinging to guilt. You cannot bless your money and then despise yourself for possessing it. These are contradictions that hinder manifestation. But when you release guilt, you release restriction. When you accept that your wealth benefits others, you open wider channels. Declare with me now: my wealth is a blessing to all. I release guilt. I walk in truth. I receive with ease, and I give with joy. Let this become your new truth. Let it permeate your being. Let it resonate louder than the old voices. You are not here to struggle. You are not here to diminish yourself. You are here to demonstrate what is possible when guilt dissipates and law prevails. And from this new state, abundance flows freely. The law never fails. It is not biased. It is not delayed by distance, by economic conditions, or by opinions. It does not consider how long you have struggled or how many times you have wept. It responds to the spoken word of truth declared in rhythm, supported by faith, and sealed with inner quiet. When you speak correctly and do not contradict your words, the law begins to operate. I once knew a woman in great need. She was unemployed. Rent was due. Fear enveloped her like a storm, but she had learned the law, and she did not beg. She did not panic. She closed her eyes, touched her empty wallet, and spoke this sentence aloud: "Divine Source is my immediate and inexhaustible supply. Unexpected channels open to me now." She said it once, and again, not frantically, but faithfully. Then she continued her day. Hours later, she walked past a bush and felt compelled to look beneath it. There, tucked under leaves, was an envelope with her name on it. Inside, the exact amount she needed, enough to pay her rent in full and purchase food for the week. Some might call that coincidence. I call it demonstration. This same rhythm has occurred for thousands. The moment they cease begging and begin declaring, the law starts to shape new channels. The moment they stop rehearsing fear and begin speaking supply, the invisible becomes visible. You may say, "But that has not happened for me." Then I ask, have you spoken with faith or with fear? Have you declared with authority, or have you hoped with doubt? The law hears certainty, not emotion, not noise. Certainty. Speak now. The law never fails. I declare my supply, and it must appear, by grace and in perfect ways. Let this become your daily conviction. Do not wonder how. Do not watch the clock. Simply speak and live and trust. Because when the word is spoken in rhythm with truth, the physical manifestation must follow. The law never forgets your declaration. It never misplaces your request. It always fulfills your spoken pattern. So pattern your words in faith, and the results will be undeniable. There is no disorder in spirit. There is no confusion in the divine mind. Only humanity disorganizes what the divine has already made complete. If your finances feel complicated, burdensome, delayed, or unclear, it is not because the divine has withheld your good. It is because your energy has not yet aligned with divine order. You have spoken inconsistently. You have feared while paying due, have blessed in one breath and complained in the next, and law, which must reflect your rhythm, has mirrored your disorder. But the moment you bring your words, your feelings, and your decisions into harmony, you activate divine order in your finances. Order is not about budgeting. It is not about paperwork. It is not about being flawless. It is about spiritual alignment. It is about inner clarity that manifests as outer peace. And divine order begins with your declaration. Speak this daily. Every dollar in my world is aligned, purposed, and multiplying by grace. Let that be the spiritual architecture of your money, aligned with truth, purposed for good, and multiplying with ease. No more impulsive spending driven by fear. No more avoiding bills. No more disowning your wealth. You are the governor of your financial reality, and governors do not guess, they command. This is your spiritual instruction. Give with faith, not with fear. Donate with joy, not with guilt. Save with wisdom, not with worry. Spend in peace, not in panic. Let every action involving money be a testament of trust. Money is not your master. It is your instrument. It is the servant of your spoken decree. So, use it with reverence. Use it with rhythm, and speak into every financial decision this law. I do not manage money by force. I govern it by divine order. And what is governed by law cannot fail. Let your inner world reflect the peace of knowing your supply is steady. Your resources are blessed, and your return is multiplying even now. When order prevails within, chaos must yield externally. You are not becoming prosperous. You are now aligned with the truth that you already are. Walk in that understanding. Act in that rhythm. And watch your money rise to meet the energy of your words. Now you know. And once you know, you cannot revert to the old energy. You cannot unlearn law. You cannot unspeak truth. The power has always been yours, but now it is conscious. Now it is awakened. And I urge you, child of the divine, not to proceed in fear, but to proceed in financial dominion. You are not waiting for money. Money is waiting for you, waiting for your voice, waiting for your consistency, waiting for your blessing. You have been given the keys to increase, the sentence of multiplication, the law of spoken truth, the act of sacred circulation, the rhythm of night and morning declaration. These are not theories, these are not ideas, they are tools for manifestation. Use them, touch your money and speak. Pay your bills and bless. Perceive scarcity and declare abundance. Feel doubt and override it with rhythm. Let no financial moment pass without awareness. Let no coin slip through your fingers without praise. Let no transaction escape your energy. And now for your final directive. Declare this aloud with boldness. Money now comes to me from expected and unexpected sources. I walk in abundance. I speak in abundance. I live in the law of increase. My supply is certain. My word is law. And my prosperity is unfolding even now. Again, my supply is certain. My word is law. And my prosperity is unfolding even now. Say it until the rhythm integrates into your being. Until your mind submits. Until the external world must obey. You are not subordinate to money. You are not afraid of it. You are not confused by it. You now handle it as a priest handles the sacred, with truth, with power, with joy. Speak this every time you touch money and observe what follows, because spirit is listening, law is moving, and your word, once spoken in faith, cannot return unfulfilled. And so it is.